Hello, everybody. It is I, YouTube Cool, back again, and welcome to a review of, as you can see by the layout, it's going to be a Thomas item, a wooden railway item at that. I am proud to announce I am finally reviewing Whiff. Whiff is a character that I think is really underrated and just generally under-talked about. Whiff came into the series around season 10 or 11. Believe it was season 11, though. And, at first he was just kind of a pretty generic character, a generic, nice character. But he had a really odd gimmick. That gimmick being that he's the garbage engine. He likes garbage. Such an odd concept for a Thomas character. And it's honestly crazy to me that this guy came back at all. A lot of characters during seasons 9 through 12 ended up fading into obscurity. Characters like Molly, characters like Mighty Mac, Hank, Flora, Billy. Well, not obscurity, everyone knows Billy, but these characters ended up never really appearing again. But Whiff of all characters did, and as you can tell by the face, made it into CGI. That is insane to me. Now, this CGI Whiff actually came with some recycling cars. I don't have those, and I don't know if Whiff was ever sold on his own or if he was exclusive to a 3-car gift pack. But I figured I might as well just review him now because, I've had him since 2025, I believe. Could even be 2024. He's been in my collection for a while now, and I just decided to finally knock him out. I actually saw Whiff in the stores once, I believe, but I passed on him, which I really regret. Luckily, I was able to get his CGI counterpart for relatively cheap, only about $15. So let's get a good look at Whiff. He is based on number 66 Aerolite, I believe, one-of-a-kind engine, because Aerolite was modified from an existing locomotive. As you can see, Whiff is a pretty big engine, which is a little off, but it makes sense because Whiff has a very peculiar wheel arrangement and in general looks kind of big, so I think this was a good way to go about him. I believe there were plans to make a Thomas Wood Whiff, which would have probably fixed the issue of Whiff's size, because Thomas Wood opted to no longer incorporate the bogie wheel system into the engines. All large engines were now strictly a 3-wheel base. Controversial decisions aside, it would have been useful for characters like Whiff that were depicted as extremely large, which is not really accurate to the show. Whiff is one of the only characters in the series to have glasses, at least for the locomotives. Obviously, there are quite a few humans with glasses. I believe Whiff first debuted in 2013, the CGI version of Whiff. I don't know when his original counterpart debuted, though. I know it also came in a 3-pack with some recycling cars, but they had faces and, I believe, different loads. So even though technically this Whiff came in a re-release of that pack, I think it was different enough to be considered its own separate thing. I really like Whiff's paint job. It's this really elegant dark green, which is probably where they got the inspiration to make him a garbage engine, because this sort of color is usually associated with garbage. Has this little... I forget what this is called. I think this is either the brake or the sandbox. Got a nice black lining here. Number 66 again. Has a bit of a peak on the end here, which is really interesting because they sort of phased that out. A lot of the older wooden railway items used to have something like that. If I pulled out, say, Lady here. Actually, no, Lady doesn't have it. I think Splatter and Dodge are the characters that have it. I know Dodge, they sort of modified it, but if I pull out Dodge here, has this sort of peak at the end here, whereas, yeah, Whiff doesn't have that. But I think that was done to have this sort of curve effect be more convincing. Whiff has a massive coal load here, which is really insane, and I think that's part of why this whiff feels so odd is because, like, yeah, that is not scale accurate. That is an insane coal load there. Here's the sides. Again, I'm sorry I don't know what this part is. I know this is definitely the safety valve. This is the dome funnel. Not short and stumpy, though. This guy is massive. And then my biggest complaint with this item is that these bands here don't go all the way around. I believe they did on the original version, but here they only stay on the top, which is really distracting. Whiff's glasses are molded in. Not even molded. They feel painted on, honestly. They don't have little lenses, which I really wish they did do for Whiff. Oh, yeah, right. Whiff also came back in All Engines Go. So, yeah, the fact that Whiff has been so predominant in the franchise is really crazy because he debuted in the same season as Billy, right? Like, who would have ever thought that the guy who likes garbage would become such a predominant character going forward? It's crazy. All right, before I finish this video, I want to quickly demonstrate that I made a little layout for Whiff to run on to test his bogey abilities, mostly comprised of curved track. Over here, got Whiff rolling around. There's a much larger curve over here. Yeah, stroke. It's a bit tight on the corners, but overall works. On the IKEA turntable, that's where I got this from. This is just a turntable you can get at IKEA for like $6. It's so cool that I can fit like an 8-wheeler on here. I did not realize that going in, but like, look at this. This is so fun. This is why I love wooden trains specifically, is because it's so simplistic. No batteries, no, die-cast metal, just simple, elegant fun. Anyways, that's all I have for today. Hope you all enjoy the review, and I shall see you all around. Bye-bye!